So let's go ahead and set up MyLab and Mastery. What we're going to do is we're going to start from Canvas, and there's a few things we need to do and check first before we can really get into it. First thing you want to do from Canvas, you want to go into your settings over on the bottom, and you need to go to the navigation. And what we're looking for is to make sure that we have an option on the navigation on the left for MyLab and Mastery. So we click on navigation, and if it's not in the top section, it should be down somewhere in this list. Now I moved a lot of things I don't need down here, so you may not have as many things. MyLab and Mastery, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it somewhere within my course. So I'm going to put it under my syllabus. Make sure you hit save, and now on the left-hand side, you should see MyLab and Mastery. Now, if you do not have a Pearson account, what you need to do is create that first. And I'm going to show you the website, and I'm not going to walk you through the process because I've already done it before, but we're going to go to a website called mlm.pearson.com. So mlm.pearson.com, that is the web address you want to go to, and it should take you to this website. So as a teacher, what you want to do is register as an educator and follow the prompts that are in there. Now, when I did it a few years ago, Montverde Academy didn't show up on the list of schools. It's fine. I was still able to get through that process. So follow the prompts and you should be able to get through and create an educator account. There's a little bit of a lag time because they have to approve your account to give you access, but they let you know when that's approved. So make sure that you register as an educator first and get that taken care of. Once you have your account, you can then sign in. Make sure you use your Montverde email address when you're creating it. Just makes it a little bit easier to have that institution tag on there. And I'm going to sign in, and then you have your dashboard where all your courses will end up. You don't need to create anything in here. We're going to create that from the Canvas side, but something you may want to do at the end of the year, and please come by and ask me how to do this, is if you really like the assignments that you used and the way your course is set up, you can create an instructor course, which will copy all of that information so that you can just duplicate it each year following. So I'm going to go back to Canvas now that I have my Pearson account, and I'm going to go to MyLab and Mastery. So for MyLab and Mastery, first time you click it, you're going to see this Get Started button. Your students will also see a Get Started button the first time they do it, but the steps that they follow will be a little bit different. So you're going to click on Get Started. And what you need to do here is you're going to create the course. Now you need to remember what class you're creating it for. I'm in Algebra 2, so I need to remember that I'm going to be doing Algebra 2. So what you want to do is find the book that you're using. So I'm going to search for math just to make the search a little bit smaller. And what you can do is enter your author, the title of the book, the ISBN, any of that kind of information, and scroll down till you find the book that you're going to use. So I'm going to search for Algebra 2. Or actually, I'm not going to search for Algebra 2. I'm going to search for the author, which is Martin Gay. And let's see if I can find her on that list. That way it narrows it down to the specific author instead of all of the Algebra 2 books from Pearson. Now that took a few minutes to load. If it takes a few minutes for you, just be patient. It's trying to populate a large list. And so you're going to scroll through and you're going to find whatever book you're going to use. Luckily, they have these wonderful pictures of the covers for us. I'm using the Algebra 2 first edition for high school users. You can always check to see if maybe there's a later edition if you keep scrolling through the list. And again, if you have the ISBN number from your actual book, then only one book should pop up in the list. So I'm going to go ahead and select Algebra 2. And I'm going to select, make sure that you choose student use course, so that way your students can sign up for this course. Now again, just like when you sign up for Pearson, our institution is not going to be listed, which is fine. You say, I don't see my institution or school. I'm going to check just to see if it actually happens to be on this list. I don't anticipate it to be there. I don't know why it had me load that. So yeah, we'll just ignore that part. Okay, so student use course. I don't see my institution or school, which is fine. And then name your course. So I'm going to name this Algebra 2 23, 24. Oh, look, I tried to do this already. So for the 23-24 school year. And then you can enter a description. You don't have to if you don't want to, but appearances, Algebra 2 regular course. Okay, so there's my description and then course states. So we're going to go ahead and start it today, doesn't matter when. And then we end in May. So I'm going to have it go through, I think the last day of semester exams is May 24th, so I'm going to just do it through the end of May. If you want to allow instructors to copy your course, you can click this. If you have another another teacher at our school who is teaching the same course, you can click this. That way one of you has to do it and the other one can copy it, but it's fine. You can leave it as it is, and then you can create your course. Now, this part says here that it can take up to 6 hours. Normally, it's 5 to 15 minutes. You'll receive an email confirmation when the course is ready. Once that's done, we can actually close this now. But once we get that email, then we will be able to see our course in Canvas. And then once we have that, we'll look at a few different things. So I took a break and I did some other stuff, and I got my email that says that my course has been created successfully. So now I'm going to go back to Canvas. I'm going to click on MyLab and Mastering again, and it should look a little different. So now we can see that there's a lot more stuff here. So we're going to go ahead and open MyLab and Mastering, and it's going to take us to our home page. Now, when you get a chance, I would tool around and kind of look at some different things, but we're going to focus now on some of the important settings that we want to make sure are adjusted. So within the course, one thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Manage Course, and we're going to go down to Edit MML Settings. Now, this isn't mandatory, but I highly, highly recommend it. I've been using this software for the better part of a decade now, and there's one thing that I want to do is under Learning Aids and Options, I'm going to take off View an Example. So I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to remove View an Example. I highly, highly recommend getting rid of that one. The other ones are fine. You can leave them. If you don't want people sending you emails, you can uncheck the Ask My Instructor, but this one is kind of nice because when they click Ask My Instructor, it sends you a screenshot of their specific question, as well as if they've typed anything in already. So it's nice to already be able to see that quite easily. But that one's up to you. You can turn on and off calculator if you want. I don't want them using the on-screen calculator. I'd rather them use the handheld one that they should have for the course. So you can adjust these however you want. I'm just going to take off View an Example. Help Me Solve This does the same thing, but it's a much more active process rather than a passive process with View an Example. So I'll leave on Help Me Solve This, but I take off View an Example. So I click Save. And so we fix that setting. Now what next thing we want to do is we want to go over to our grade book. So within the gradebook, whenever you want to change something, whether it's under gradebook, under assignments, anything like that, you need to go up on the right where it says Manage View and click Manage. So that way you can adjust some things. Otherwise, you're essentially seeing the student view of that page. So now, let's go back, let's try that again. Okay. So gradebook manage. There's a couple things we want to do. We want to go to change weights, and we want to have assignment weighting only. So that way we can choose, I want all my homework assignments to be worth 5 points, 10 points, whatever it is. You want assignment weighting only. That way, whether you assign 5 questions for homework or 15 questions for homework, every homework assignment will be worth the same amount of points. If you don't want them to be worth the same amount of points, then you don't have to do that. If you want a 5-question assignment to be worth 5 points, a 10 one to be 10, you can, but just note that the number of questions will determine the number of points for that assignment. So normally we want to do assignment weighting, so that way we can set everything to be a specific value. You can make minor adjustments later on, but it's usually good to have this set here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that this is set to whatever point value we want as the default. You can change that. Total weight, kind of 10 is usually where it goes. And we're going to look in another tab to see where you can change that if you want it to be 5 points or whatever value. I like 10. It's a nice, easy one to do percentages for. It honestly, at the end of the day, especially if you use weighted gradebooks and Canvas, doesn't make that big a difference as long as you assign something consistent for your grading. So we're going to click Save. Make sure that that's good. Updates have been saved, and we can click Done, and that'll take us back to the gradebook. So that was under Change Weights. Now we're going to go to Grade Sync Settings. So here, what we're going to do again is we're going to change to the assignment weighted scores, not assignment raw scores. Again, so that's how it's going to be. If we have a 15 question assignment, it's going to be worth 15 points. So we want the assignment weighted score, so that'll make it 10. And then we're going to click Save. As you make assignments, they will show up in this list right here. And then you'll see that they have an assignment weight of 10 points. You can adjust it if you need to, but I recommend just keeping it at 10 points for ease of many different things. But your items will populate in here, and as long as they're checked on Sent to Canvas, then the grades will sync up with Canvas really easily in your gradebook. So you may want to check on those, during the first couple weeks of school, maybe first week or so, and maybe after the first assignments get made and done, because sometimes they don't necessarily save or they might revert. It doesn't happen often, but it has in the past. So check change weights and the grade sync settings occasionally just to make sure that they're good. Once you get deeper into the school year, those settings shouldn't change, especially once stuff starts grading, so it shouldn't be an issue, but know that that's where you're going to want to check those. I want to go over another couple important websites, and I'll send these out in an email as well, just so that you know about them and you can access them when you need to. So one of them is going to be the Pearson System Status, which is just status.pearson.com. And oftentimes we'll get students that say, oh, Pearson wasn't working, the website was down, I couldn't open it, it gave me an error. But of course, they don't have a screenshot or anything to prove it. What is great about this is you can see a timeline of whether or not the system has been inoperable or if it was down at any point in time. And so you can check under higher education courseware, and we can see that MyLab has been up and running for the past week with no issue. So you can check this to see if you find that you're getting messages from students at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, God forbid, 2 o'clock in the morning saying, oh, this website's not working. When you check it in the morning, you can see, oh, yes, the website actually was down or having some issues. Maybe there was a maintenance period where students weren't able to access it. So that's a good website to have bookmarked. And then, of course, we talked about the mlm.pearson.com. Once you have your thing set up, you can see all the courses that you make under there, and you can see your rosters. And then the last one I want to talk about is the Pearson Course Catalog. If you want to make paper tests, there's a software that IT can download for you that allow you to generate tests for your courses. And so this course catalog is going to be where you can get all of the test banks for different textbooks so that you can make your tests using the same algorithmic generation that we get on the homework assignment, so you can make multiple versions really easily. And I'll create another video showing how to make those assignments using the test bank and the generator.